There could be no more different points of view for how one lives his life than what we see in our readings today. Two conflicting ways of living. There could be no more evil present than what we hear today in our first reading in the heart of Jezebel, the queen, the wife of Ahaz. They desire another man's property, a good and just man. And in order to get what they want, they put him to death under false pretenses. The sin of greed takes over their hearts. No other person matters. No human life is sacred. Whatever they want, they take. It's a different point of view for the way to live a life, but we see it in our own culture. The great dangers that Pope John Paul II began to point out over 50 years ago have come to pass. A culture that is materialistic, that sees seizing things as the only way to be happy and successful, to pursue things at whatever cost, regardless of the consequences. Nothing gets in the way of someone's advance and progress in that kind of culture, a culture of death, a civilization of darkness. That's how Pope John Paul II described it. We see it in the taking of human life, the unborn, innocent people tossed aside because they're inconvenient, in the way. They aren't wanted. We see people make decisions, even in business, unethical decisions, with little moral regard for the consequences of what they choose to do, because it's for their good, their benefit, their gain. Greed is a capital sin for a reason. It can kill the life of the Spirit, take over our hearts. It's a great danger to anyone who desires to follow Jesus, but it certainly is an obstacle to gaining heaven, eternal life. The story today should shake us up a bit. It's hard to imagine that any of us would take another person's life to seize their property. But how often we can live with that same intent of Ahaz and Jezebel, desiring, coveting, being jealous of others' success, wanting things really at no matter what the cost to other people. It's a great danger for every Christian. What a different point of view Jesus gives us today in the gospel. Not an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, he says, but to love your enemy, to give generously of what you have to benefit those who don't have enough. Go the extra mile, Jesus says, without any desire for recompense or recognition. Give to the one who asks of you, and never turn your back on anyone in need. We can only live that way when every day we recognize our blessings. What we've been given, certainly through our effort, because God has asked us to do all we can in life, to use our talents, our intelligence, our good health, not for our own gain, but for the benefit of society and the church. But when we recognize how blessed we are, and admit that those blessings come from God, that's why we're at Mass. The Mass is the Eucharist, the Greek word for giving thanks. That's why we're here, not for our own personal benefit. We're here to give thanks to God for everything He has accomplished in our life, and to receive the grace to go forth and share that goodness, those blessings with everyone, without measure. It's the only way to eternal life, a different kind of vision of life, a culture of love, of sacrifice, of service. That's what Pope John Paul II called every Christian to live. Today we honor one of the great saints, St. Anthony of Padua, who became enamored with St. Francis of Assisi and his life of selfless living, his love for the poor. He gave away everything he had. He was a wealthy man from a wealthy family with a great future. He offered it all up to serve Jesus Christ and to share the gospel. We know him as the patron saint of lost things, and probably everyone here has prayed to St. Anthony when we've lost something, but you know why he was named that patron saint? Because he cared about retrieving lost souls. He spent his entire life going out into the streets to share the love of Jesus with others so that they would return to the church. They would find their way back to salvation. He searched for lost souls. What an inspiration. And he would say always, let your actions speak to your faith. Words mean nothing if we don't live what we believe. That's how we'll retrieve lost souls. That's how we'll gain heaven. May St. Anthony inspire us today to live what we preach, to care for those in need, to be generous, not greedy, to strive to live a life of love, service, and sacrifice in imitation of Jesus, so that we can gain eternal life.